Yes, people, what's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and this is your match preview. It's Everton against Palace. I mean, this game now is it's scary, isn't it? Because obviously, following last week's result, poor game, Everton have to win or at least get a point. I think Everton have to go to Palace and get some form of result. I think Palace they'll come into this game confident. They've won the last three. Scored 5 goals against Leeds the other week. This is a Palace side full of confidence. They've sort of found a different way of playing without Zaha, which has allowed Eze to have more space, and he's looking like a hell of a player. We all knew he was going to be a good player, but he seems to have he's certainly found his calling. And Everton have just got to be strong to that. Potential good news is that Calvert-Lewin could be back, and apparently he is fully fit. Now, what does fully fit mean in Calvert-Lewin's world? Well, who knows? One of the things that Sean Dyche has been saying is that, he wants to get his back into a position where he's not going to break down again. So are we going to see that on Saturday? Well, I don't know. I like to think so, but who knows? What I do want to see is I want to see an Everton side be good on the ball. I want to see them move the ball quickly. I don't think it's worked playing this 2 in midfield. And I actually called for it. So, I'll sit here and put my own hands up. I got it wrong. But it clearly hasn't worked against Manchester United. It clearly didn't work against Fulham. Albeit, I don't understand why he starts Maupay in that game. But, it is what it is. But Sean Dyche made far too many changes to a side that was doing okay. And we just fell off. We were not good enough, in that second half especially. Fulham were better than us in every department. Defensively, midfield, up front, they were just better than us. And this is a game where I think, if I'm being brutally honest, I think Crystal Palace probably have a little bit more creativity than Fulham. They might not be as good defensively. I haven't got the goals in front of me. I haven't checked them, so, please correct me if I'm wrong. But this Palace side, they are good. They have got good players. They've been in a bad run, and they've sacked Vieira, and they've sort of got that hard-working mentality back from Roy Hodgson, and you can't fault that. You can't sit here and criticise Palace for anything really. They've gone about the business well. They've won the last 3. They've scored some goals. They've not conceded loads. It's scary. It's scary, the change that a manager has, and this is new manager bounce. This is the sort of thing that they wanted to make sure they keep themselves up. You'd probably say they've done enough now. I can't see them going down, if I'm being truthful. So you kind of hope they're on the beach a little bit, but Everton have got to go to Palace and perform like we did when we beat them at Goodison. This has got to be a performance of the season, in my opinion. And if Calvert-Lewin's back for that, that would be great. He scored in his last 2 against Palace, obviously one in the 3-0 and one in the 3-2 from last season. So, fingers crossed he scores again. But I can't call how to play this game. I think I would revert back to 3 in the middle and your 3 attackers, or your 4-5-1 in the transition. I think Damari Gray's done all right. I can't fault Damari Gray, so I wouldn't necessarily be in a rush to drop him. So I'll give you my team. You might disagree with this. I'll go... It's tough defensively. That's the problem for me. It's tough defensively because I thought Nathan Patterson, when he come on last week, was awful. And look, I know he's been out injured, so I'm not going to sit here and grill him, but he didn't play well. So I'm hoping another week of full fitness, maybe that's helped him. Mikalenko looked terrible as well. So, but Ben Godfrey looked poor as well. So, who plays left and right back? Ruben Vinagre's injured. So anyway, Pickford in goal. I'll go Godfrey at left back. I'll move him back to left back where he's played quite well. When he moved over to the right-hand side, he was awful last week. Tarkowski and Keane. And on my right full-back, I'll go Nathan Patterson. I'll go 3 in midfield. Now, this is all dependent if Onana's fit. So, obviously, if Onana is fit, he starts alongside Ladrissa Gana-Gay and probably James Garner, who I very stupidly last week was calling Tom Garner. I don't know why about that, but there you go. And then my front 3 would be Dwight McNeil, Calvert-Lewin and Amari Gray. And I think that is your best chance of Everton getting a result, if I'm being honest. Now, if that isn't the case, a sticker, he won't be in there for either Onana or Ghana. It's a sort of like-for-like swap with Onana. We need some legs in the middle of the park. We need someone who can carry the ball, and we didn't do that last week. James Garner looked all right. I know John criticised him a little bit, but I didn't agree with John. I thought he played all right. First start in the Premier League, etc. etc. I got hiccups. So we'll see. But the simple fact of the matter is Everton have to go to a resurgent Palace and they have to get something. Leeds haven't looked great, but they'll be confident in games. Forest at home is a different side to Forest away, so they'll be kind of confident they can pick up results at home. And then you've got Leicester, who, let's be real, in 2 weeks' time, that is a massive game. Or is it 3 weeks? Whatever it is, that is a massive game for Everton. So if Everton can get something in this game, 3 points would be ideal. If Everton can get 3 points in this game, it sort of takes the pressure off that we've put on ourselves. We've done this to ourselves. Every team that's at the bottom of the league would say the same, but we truly have, because we've been ahead in games. Wolves, Southampton. We've been ahead in these games at Goodison Park. We have conceded silly goals that's cost us. This Everton side have got to find a way of going away from home and winning again. And that's not something Everton do very well. But if we can get a point, we were also ahead in Forest. I mean, if you sit there and you convert those points, we got one at Forest. We lost to Wolves and Southampton. But if you change all of those to wins, like they could have been, we were leading. That's 9 points. Everton wouldn't even be in this mess. We wouldn't even be in this battle. We'd be roughly where Palace are, and we'd be like, right, one more win. And we'll pick up a win along the way. It might be Bournemouth at the end of the season, but we'd pick it up. I have very little confidence. I do think Everton stay up. And I know some people have been saying to me about, you're not as negative as last season, where a lot of other Everton fans are. And it's been kicking off on Twitter, something rotten between fan groups and other channels, etc. And I just want to keep out of all of that. All I want is for this Everton team to play with the heart and dedication and passion that all of us had as fans have got. All of the protests, the guys that have been doing that have been sensational. The away crowd for this Palace game is going to be mad. I've been to Stamford Bridge and the Emirates this season. I've seen both the euphoria of getting a result at Chelsea and getting absolutely dicked 4-0 at Arsenal. I was there for both games, sitting there in my seat, standing there in my seat. It was tough. It was tough. Both games are tough, but Everton have got to get something at Palace. It is that simple. I truly believe Everton really need 4 points in the next 2, and that's a difficult ask. You've got a tough Newcastle side, and you've got a tough Palace side. 4 points probably helps a lot, but let's be positive. Let's say that we can win. Let's say that with the 3 in midfield, we can control that. And hopefully with having the 3 in midfield, hopefully we can double up on their creative players like Zaha, like Eze, like Michael Elise if he plays, like whoever else is in there. Hopefully we can double up on them and stop them running riot in our midfield and heading towards our box. And equally, we're going to need a good game from Jordan. Jordan in goal is going to have to be a big man. He's going to have to be strong. I'm tired. And more importantly, though, God, I'm dying. More importantly, we are going to have to find a way of scoring goals. Because although we have scored goals in recent games, I felt like you could have given us loads of chances against Fulham and we weren't going to get the second. Because we had that 20-minute spell where we were the better team and we just didn't do anything. Neil Maupay had the best chance, does nothing with it. Does absolutely nothing with it. There's no way Neil Maupay should be anywhere near this team, even on the bench. And I want to mention one of the lads, one of the young players who's been playing really well this season, Stanley Mills. We all know how much quality this kid has got. I would definitely be tempted to have him on the bench in this game. I absolutely would. And I actually wouldn't be scared of bringing him on because we haven't got enough creativity on that bench. And I know the kid's young and I know the kid is, raw. But we just need someone who can come on and run around and do something creative. And, if he has one good pass in a game, but that one good pass leads to something, then so be it. It's worth throwing him on the bench. I'm fed up of seeing the same substitutes every week, being Tom Davies and, Neil Maupay. And nothing happens, nothing improves, the game doesn't change, it just flows, it just ebbs past us. I do think we need some of our young lads on the bench who's got something, who's got a little bit of quality, and I think Stanley Mills ticks that box for me personally. And based on the fact that we're seeing a lot of young players over the last few years leave Everton, I think this is a kid we've got to do our best to hang on to personally. So there you go, guys. I'm leaving it there. Score prediction: I'm going 1-1. I want Everton to win, and I feel like we could win. But I also know that Palace could win. So I'm saying 1-1 because that's sort of where my head's at. But let's be real. It could be anything. It could be a 3-0 Palace win. It could be a 1-0 Everton win. Who knows? So, yeah. Guys, as always, it's a pleasure. And I'll see you for the match reaction. I just hope it's a good one. Anyway, peace.